All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the newest episode of the CB Sports Podcast. It has been a while. What can I say? Life gets busy, life gets crazy, but I'm so glad to be back talking sports. And today we've got a good episode for you. As always, I'm your host, Chris Bailey. Today we will be looking at the current state of the Patriots. Now, if you followed the channel at all, my very first episode, I met with my good friend Clyde Munnings of King Petty Chronicles. Check out King Petty Chronicles on YouTube. That's his channel. You will also find this video there. So earlier in the summer, we did a Patriots Season Preview. So we combed over the roster. We looked at notable additions. We looked at players who stood out to us. We also did a schedule preview. We discussed the quarterback, what was then a quarterback debate between Cam Newton and Mac Jones. Now, if you follow the team at all, obviously things have changed quite a bit, and we're definitely going to get into that today. So I'm excited to have Clyde back on the program. He's become kind of my Patriots correspondent. We've been texting right along the course of the season, and we've been trying to do this for a few weeks now, and it's so I'm really looking forward to having him on. I'm really looking forward to hearing his thoughts. And today, like I said, it's going to be a mid-season report. So we're going to discuss how the season has gone so far. We are going to talk some current events, things going on in the NFL that are related to the Patriots, loosely related to the Patriots. And we're going to also do a bit of a mid-season report card. So we're going to look at the offense and the defense. We're going to go through each position, talk standout players at each position, and grade each position group as well. So without further ado, I would like to bring on my guest, my good friend. Welcome back to the CB Sports Podcast, Clyde. Hello, Clyde.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Can you hear me this time?
Yes, I sure can.
Oh, very good. Very good. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Busy, but can't complain.
Yes.
It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I'm excited for today.
I know. Yes. I think the last one I did was the last one we did. So
yeah. So the YouTube channel, though, you still
yeah, that's still going. I haven't done any topics in a while. It's just been filler with the Call of Duty videos still. I do have some things lined up. As you see, I'm in a new space right now, so I'm setting up my office. I'm working on some things and getting things together that should hopefully kick off in the next year.
Cool. So did you guys moved?
No. We just restructured the house and how it is, and so it's just making it more work from home friendly.
There you go. Yeah, it's crazy how prevalent that's become in our society nowadays. I mean, I just had to do a 2-week remote learning stint, because we had an outbreak at my school. I mean, it's crazy, man. The world we live in.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, I was just saying that, I was just kind of introducing the episode, and so I thought that today we would start with some current events, kind of things around the NFL that affect the Patriots, and then look at the schedule so far, kind of give our thoughts on how the team has performed, and from there do a bit of a mid-season report card. So I broke the offense and defense down by position. I picked players who I thought kind of stood out to me so far, and I certainly want to hear from you, who stood out to you on both the offense and defense, and we'll grade each positional group, and then from there look at the remaining schedule. So that's kind of the blueprint for today.
No problem, man. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. All right. So let's do screen share. 1 second here. Okay. All right. Can you see all that okay? All right. Very good. So current events, we'll start here. All right, so we're definitely gonna dive into the current state of the Patriots shortly, but they are on a win streak, and I will kind of preface what we're going to talk about by saying I feel like this is really our most significant win streak in probably 2.5 seasons. It feels like to me. I mean, last season was a bit rough, a lot of up and down, and then even the season before with Brady was pretty lackluster. So I feel like if you want to feel good as a Patriots fan, now is the time to do it.
That's true.
And and then like I said, we're gonna talk about that in a second too, but. My next point, Odell Beckham Jr. What were your thoughts on that situation? Because the Patriots did have reported interest, and certainly it was a hot topic among local sports talk radio. But where do you weigh in on the Odell thing?
I want to be practical about it. I'm not going to take anything from him. Odell is a great wide receiver. He gets things done. I do feel like we could have benefited from having him. But I also feel like we're coming into our groove. We're getting our structure together. And the fact is, Cleveland is doing just fine without him. Like before he left the team, when he wasn't just playing, they were performing well without him, and then released. And the day after he's gone, they come out and whoop. Right. So it's like, we predicted that it was going to probably be a difficult game for us against them today, but I feel like we've got some things in our bag, as well as they have a lot more weapons. But the fact is, with no Odell Beckham, it makes it a little bit easier. It's always one less person you need to worry about on the field. They have so many targets. Sure. But like one veteran all-star that you don't have to worry about, don't have to plan for, is definitely going to be something that, lightens up the mood and the tension.
Right. And it kind of the local, I keep my ear to the ground with all the local sports talk. And, a lot of the people who were against bringing him in thought that he might not necessarily be a great fit for a young quarterback like Mac Jones, because I mean, there were issues with him and Baker Mayfield in Cleveland as far as, demanding targets and this and that. So, I mean, I think, obviously the talent is undeniable. One thing that really frustrated me is a lot of people kind of put him on the level of a Randy Moss type, similar, like, reviving his career. But I mean, Randy Moss is what, number 2 receiver all time behind Jerry Rice. I mean, Odell Beckham's talented, but I thought that was taking it a bit far. And I will say that, and we'll get into this a little later too, I do feel like Mac needs a go-to, kind of a safety blanket target, a guy that, kind of like a Gronk in the past, or Julian.
But, I mean, I kind of feel like Henry is becoming that.
He is, yeah, and he's been great in the red zone.
Right, and I mean, it's really just, like I said, with 3 games in a row, that Jets thing, I really feel like lit the fire. Like that victory was for the morale of the team. They said the Jets hadn't been beaten that bad in 2 decades.
Something like that. Yeah, it was.
They hadn't lost that like 40 points. Like that was a good morale game.
Absolutely.
And to bring that on, I mean, Odell Beckham, no Odell Beckham. We got enough to worry about defensively in itself. So one less wide receiver is not gonna hurt. Not gonna hurt our chances. It's definitely gonna help us with the win. Them coming to New England is gonna be in our favor, but this is gonna be no easy feat today.
No, and yeah, we'll definitely get to that shortly. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't, if the Patriots had found a way to make it work, I certainly wouldn't have been upset about getting Odell Beckham. But
no, not at all.
You look at a team like the Rams. I mean, they're just going all in. They're loading up. They just added Von Miller. Now with Odell Beckham, I mean, they're kind of following the Bucks blueprint to a championship, and it should be interesting.
But I mean, they've already got that all. But the thing is, they already have the All-Star in Cooper Kupp.
I saw your post on Facebook.
Because I mean, Kupp is phenomenal. Like I have been following him like 2-3 seasons now, and he's just getting better. He's a confident person. He's doing long plays, he's doing slots, he's doing short gains, he's just moving the ball. And then he's also making himself still available once it gets to end zone time for you to finish it off with him still. You know, there's those people who get these 40, 30-yard catches and then they get tackled on the 5, and then, you know, the one, you know, running back comes out and scores. Like Kupp is like, no, I'm gonna get this, give it back to me again, and he'll provide a way to be out there, but he's still a team player. And Odell's gonna have that challenge with going to someone who's an all-star but is still a team player at the same time.
Right. And I guess one thing I when you posted that on Facebook, it got me thinking, and it's like, well, maybe this will be a good thing for Odell because, you know, Kupp is kind of the established number one. They also have Robert Woods there, who's a good receiver. You know, maybe Odell can kind of fit into a role where
don't they still have Brandon Woods too?
Yeah, they got Woods is still playing for them. Yep.
And so I mean, you're gonna this might be some very large humble pie for Odell. He might not even start.
Well, and the thing is, you know, maybe it'll be an opportunity for him to kind of say, you know, I don't have to be the guy getting the most targets. I have to show up when I need to show up and make an impact. And, you know, I guess if there's but it is a loaded offense, and it's you know, everywhere I've looked on the internet, everybody's kind of made it like, you know, seem like a boomer bust kind of thing. So I guess, you know, it'll just be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
So
I mean, whether he comes off, if he starts or not, having him as a backup would be just as bad as whoever starting. Like whoever he's coming in to relieve, that cornerback is no longer going to be able to relax. Like, oh, second string is in. Like, no, OBJ's now in, and you gotta defend him. If Kupp went off for a play and now OBJ's in for him, like you can't change your defense because you think it's now going to be easier. You can free up someone. You got to double down still.
Right. Yeah. And you know, who do you put your number one corner on then? Because, you know, whoever's got the number 2 is probably going to burn him. Yeah. So yeah, moving on. You know, there's been an interesting Carolina connection this year. Now, this isn't necessarily current, but Patriots did finally end up trading Stephon Gilmore to the Carolina Panthers in exchange for a 2023 6th-round pick. I think that the situation had just really deteriorated. And I know obviously Gilmore wasn't happy with his contract. And I think I think I had resigned to the fact that he wasn't going to play for us this year. I hate the compensation for him. I mean, I know he's getting a little older and maybe his best days are behind him, but a 6th-round pick seems a bit light. And Belichick isn't always as shrewd in trades as he could be. But
I've always think about how Belichick does it differently. It's more of a grand picture of things. It's a 6th-round pick in 2023. It's 2021 now. Who knows with all the, like, if we took a step back and looked at all the trades that Bill has made for future and past picks, like by 2023, who knows how many picks we'll have that round.
Right. That's true.
That round, the previous rounds, like we could be front loaded by 2023. And then if we're having a good season, having a lot of picks up front is going to help us, because, you know, when you have a good season, it's not so friendly on your draft pick on the next year over. So if next year it's a good year, then it's going to be sorry about that. Sure.
No worries, man.
But if next year's a good season, then, you know, we would get a higher draft pick, but then we're covered because we've got these trades from years ago in these earlier rounds or whatnot that on the back end. So trade, I mean, 6th round, I don't know how many we might already have 2 more picks that round. There could be 3 picks for us in the 6th round.
Right. And and that's a good way to look at it. You know, it seems light for a former defensive player of the year, but, you know, what are you going to do? It wasn't going to work here.
What year was that?
Certainly made.
What year did he get defensive player of the year?
It must have been in there. I don't know if it was Brady's last year or the Super Bowl season, but it was one of those. It might have been Brady's last season, which ended on kind of a sour note. I was at his last home game in Gillette that they lost to the Dolphins, and that was a bummer. But, you know, Gilmore definitely made his presence felt last week. against us, despite the kind of lopsided victory on our end.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really feel it. I felt that final score.
Yeah, I mean, he did pick off Mac Jones. He made, but that was the Patriots game for sure. And then, Cam Newton, our guy, is back in Carolina. We were texting the other day, and you and I did this preview, and it must have been July, right before training camp, and many of our predictions had Cam Newton factored in, as QB1 for the season. And I was honestly shocked the day, that it came up on my phone that they had let him go. I mean, I didn't see that coming at all. I really didn't.
That was a shock. I definitely, like I said, I wasn't shocked that we let him go. I was shocked we let him go so soon. I thought we were gonna get into regular season. I thought he was gonna prove we should let him go, or underperform, and there would be a reason before, not just week one. Like he didn't get to week one. It's just all right, bye. And I mean, I understand his mindset behind it, but I also understand that you need to look at what your actions have done, what your production on the field has been, to the point that we can look at a rookie and compare him to you and put him in the game and get things done. Right.
And it was, funny because if the preseason, Cam and Mac were pretty even, you looked at their numbers, you looked at their performances, they both, they were both pretty solid. And it just,
and one of them was a rookie. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
So if the rookie's being consistent with you.
Right.
And he's younger, faster. He's got no injuries.
Right. And
he's not faster, but he's definitely got more endurance because he's not been beat down so much yet.
Right. And I think it speaks to how little Belichick really lets the media, invade his team, because clearly he had some, to make that decision, he had some real faith in Mac, but he didn't, he made it seem like a competition through training camp, and maybe that was strategic. So teams, just to kind of, I guess, bamboozle the rest of the league. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's good to, obviously the Panthers are in a tough spot with their quarterback being out.
And now, while we're talking about the Panthers, how do you feel about that Mac thing that he did down there?
Oh, gee, man, I don't know. It's tough. You hear both sides. Obviously, you don't want to see anybody get hurt. I think that even if it was intentional, that they do play tackle football. People's legs and this and that, everything get twisted on every play. I don't know. It's hard. You're conflicted as a fan about it. I guess.
I mean, I'm not really conflicted. Like I feel as though he definitely, not even getting a fine, he definitely got off. I've seen. I mean, for Myles Garrett, like I'm saying, my man wasn't he carted off the field? Like it's like, I mean, I feel like they took him, like he not Myles Garrett's fight, but Mac Jones didn't that play, like he was carted off the field, I believe, from that ankle injury. And so I mean, for it to not be like, I as a Patriots fan would be like, no, don't suspend him because we need him. But I, as a football fan, is like, there does need to be some form of punishment for these actions.
I could see a fine. Yeah, I wouldn't.
They already said they're not going to fine him.
No, I know that. And what I was going to say is I could see a fine being reasonable. I don't think a suspension would be reasonable. But and you do raise a good point. It's like, what if Baker Mayfield does that to one of our players today? How are we going to feel about it? And it's, you do have to kind of take that perspective. And, obviously,
like if Baker Mayfield did that to Judon,
right? Exactly.
And Judon got taken off the field, and we're missing 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, how, like, for the helmet thing, how many weeks did Myles Garrett lose when he hit the guy with the helmet?
Right.
And that dude didn't get injured. Right.
No, so it's a tough one, man. And you'd obviously don't want to. I don't think Mac was trying to hurt him. I just think I think Mac has a little bit of a competitive streak and fire that we don't see. And he was pissed. I think he was pissed. He lost the ball, and he just acted in that. And I don't, but it's unfortunate. You never want to see anybody get hurt, and it's hopefully both parties will move on and health for Burns, and I think he's all right. I think he's going to play this week. But so anyway, back to Cam Newton. I was happy to see him finally land somewhere. He's certainly
right back home. My man went around the world and came back.
Yeah. So how do you see he signed, that contract he signed is pretty hefty. I mean, for a guy who was on the street, really kind of unproven, good for him, man. I mean, bring it home. But how do you see this playing out for the Panthers? I know you're down there, you're much closer to the situation. What's the climate like?
The climate is that both sides were desperate. Well, definitely, you don't go back. I've been joking all week that he's gonna play today. Like they're so desperate that they went to somebody who knows a form of their playbook that they can use in the games that he can play today. So I feel like that's kind of what it is. I do feel like they're gonna get smacked today.
Who they play today?
The Cardinals.
Oh yeah, that's running into a buzzsaw.
And they're going to Arizona.
Oh yeah.
And Kyler Murray is supposed to be back. I don't know if Hopkins is back yet, but I do believe Kyler is supposed to be back. So that's probably not going to go the way they want. But and that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking going into this game, if by some miracle they win, if Cam plays and they win, I'll give them all the flowers in the world. But if Cam plays and they lose, I'm going to try to give this one a grain of salt for this week because of who they're playing. They're playing, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL right now. I'd put the Cardinals over the Bucs right now.
Over the Rams too?
Yes, but I would love to see that game.
Yeah.
Because Kyler Murray just got this mobility, and I mean, even when they're playing without him, they're just dominating the game.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
And let's see here, but the Panthers, I feel like they're really just trying to do what they can with what they have. Like we saw, I don't know if you saw that game, the Steelers game when they didn't have a kicker.
No,
they didn't have a kicker. Every touchdown they had to go for two. They were just going for it on fourth down because they couldn't kick field goals. And it was just there's a struggle out here. It's like when we were talking about our predictions, I said we don't know what can happen this far down the line, and you got teams that are just playing whole games without field goal kickers. Their punter was doing the kickoffs. But they didn't have someone for field goals for the whole Sunday.
Wow.
And so it's there's this lacking thing that's happening in teams, and that's why I appreciate that we're actually coming together as a team in a time when so many teams are falling apart, they're breaking down, they're struggling, and we've seemed to found our cohesion, our what's bringing us together, our bond that is going to get us closer and closer. And I'm really appreciating that. I really feel like today's going to be a shootout with the Browns, but I feel like this is going to be our first test of the real season. Like we predicted how it was going, but I think today's going to be our real test of, same record 5-4 versus 5-4. Somebody's going to come out 6-4.
Right.
Somebody's going to be 50-50.
Yeah. And, just getting back to Cam, I think that, do you think it creates any kind of quarterback controversy there? Because it doesn't really seem like Sam Darnold's a guy. And if Cam, is healthy, if he's in shape, if he can, he's worked with this offense before. If he performs, do you think there's a chance that, the job's his again? And, Darnold.
I think that amount of money that you see guaranteed shows that there's a chance for the job to be his again.
Yeah.
They're investing a lot of money in a 1-year deal. So I think they're kind of doing a Hail Mary on the signing, but I feel like he's gonna cash out. He's gonna produce at least something. Sam, is he injured today? I thought they said
I think they're gonna start that PJ Walker, who's a former XFL quarterback.
Right. So I think he's going to start. And then, in my opinion, I think Cam is going to get some play time today. Like, they might let him run a series or two. But I feel like they're going to, PJ Walker probably won't play the whole game in my thoughts. But yeah, I think Cam's going to come out there. I mean, he'll play more if Cam comes out and sucks. But if Cam can come out and do what we wanted him to come out and do for us that he didn't get a chance to do, and that's also what I think. I think he's got something that he feels he needs to prove that he didn't get a chance to do at all this season.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so no. Like, imagine if this had happened 2 weeks ago and he was able to play us.
Yeah, that would have been something. I mean, I think that, you know, that was our game to win no matter what. I think Belichick just had a solid plan, and he would have, you know, that would still have been a Patriots win, but, you know, Cam would have definitely been out to, you know, put a couple in on us anyway.
They might have made it to double digits.
Oh yeah. Right. All right. So let's, here we go. We got the results so far. All right. So we have, and like I said, we're on a win streak that I feel like has been kind of unprecedented in recent, you know, very recent Patriots history. But, you know, the season didn't start out so great. I had real questions up until the past, you know, 3 weeks or so. Have kind of solidified my faith. But, you know, so we opened. Go ahead.
Like what I said, our predictions, we were only wrong about week 3 and week 6.
Yeah, well, we were kind of, I think we were kind of undecided on Miami in week 1.
I said we always split them. So I prefer the loss in the beginning than the loss at the end.
Right. Yeah.
So I had picked the L there because that's where I picked our Miami loss, because we're playing them last week of the season, and the way that it's already looking now in the bracket with us and Buffalo, that's probably going to be a needed victory for the division.
Yeah, and I think that you can really just chalk that week 1 loss up to, you know, beginning of season, you know, jitters, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, it's 17-16. We didn't lose by much.
Right. No, and it was a good game.
It's definitely, you can definitely chalk that up to, you know, debut game jitters, whatever wasn't coherent. That's when we see them again, and as you see what their record is, they have not found their flow. They don't know what they're doing. Right.
Yeah, we've definitely gone in opposite directions. And, you know, the defense too took a little time to find its stride. They weren't what they are right now, week 1, certainly. And Miami did, you know, kind of a thing we saw. Miami did run all over us that week, and that really hurt.
That won't happen again.
Right. No, I agree. So then we won against the Jets, which
we picked.
What's that?
We picked us winning against the Jets. We said we were going to beat the Saints, which
right. That was just I feel I can't chalk that up to anything but an off week, man. It was like it was puzzling to me. I didn't, you know, the Saints aren't, it just was a bad week. And then, you know,
the Saints aren't, they ain't doing bad now. Don't count the Saints out.
No, that's true.
They're second only because they're playing against Tom Brady.
Right. Yeah, they're in the mix. I felt we could have performed better in that game. It was definitely, you know, kind of a choke game. I felt like we didn't show up. Like that's what I'm going to chalk that one up to. And then, you know, we took the Bucks.
I would say week 3 is when we came together. That was when it started happening. Week 4, Tampa, like, yes, we lost to Tampa Bay, but nobody thought it was going to be that close.
No, and that was, you know, I thought.
And Mac Jones outperformed Brady in every category that game.
Exactly.
What was it? Tom had 269 yards. Mac had 275. Tom was like 58%. No, Tom was 51%. Mac was 78%. And then Tom had, you know, no touchdowns. And Mac had the 2, but he had the 1 interception. But that was where I felt like that was their realization as a team. Like, okay, we're not where everybody thought, you know, we're not as terrible as everyone thought we were going to be. And we can maybe do this.
Yeah, no, I have to give the team as a whole a lot of credit. I mean, you know, you hear different narratives. You hear that, you know, maybe Brady was a little too amped up, this, that, or the other thing. But it doesn't matter. I mean, you show up and you got to win. I mean, that's what these guys are paid to do. And, you know, I thought Mac, showed a ton of poise, and I mean to come
to
in
go against the GOAT and to lose by only 2 points, like a lot of I don't think that might even been Tom's closest game. I feel like this season it could have been.
Yeah,
I haven't checked their other games, but that could be their closest game all season.
and if a Nick Folk field goal goes a different way, we win.
Right.
It's so, and then the Texans. I mean, that game was that was interesting because they started a rookie quarterback as well, and he was torching us in the first half, and then they kind of found their stride and they got it together in the second half. Was fine, but a win's a win.
Right.
That Cowboys game, man, that was
that's what I said. Like when you taking Dak and you taking Elliott and and they had to beat us in overtime.
Right.
People talk, Dallas fans were very loud about that victory. And it's like, you didn't beat the Tom Brady Patriots. You beat the Mac Jones Patriots, and barely at that, you know what I'm saying? You had to go beyond regulation to do it. And that one, I just feel like they made that, I feel like overtime can flip the game in whoever's favor. Whoever gets the ball first, I tend to say is going to win the overtime match.
Well, and you saw, I mean, I think the Patriots honestly were tired, and because you saw how CeeDee Lamb dusted our secondary for that game-winning touchdown. I mean,
yeah.
And not to take anything away from CeeDee Lamb, I have him on my fantasy team. He's got me a lot of points this year, and he's a good. And we're going to get into the defense in a little bit, and that's one thing that worries me about the Patriots defense is having to defend teams that have, we were talking about the Rams, but the Cowboys. I mean, they have they're 2-3 deep at wide receiver. And it's like, when you play teams like that, you can't clone JC Jackson and put him on everybody. Like,
right. And then you throw in a versatile running back, a mobile quarterback.
Exactly.
So like, it's not somebody, you got a versatile running back who can block. If the block falls, if the pocket collapses, you got a quarterback that can fall out, who can roll out, dish to the running back. You've got, wide receivers that can break route and move to where they need to be while the pocket is collapsing, and you have to move and be where you need to be. You just got all this people, on your side of the ball that can move and communicate and keep the play alive.
Yeah.
And after a long game and shooting it out, I mean, 29, going to overtime, 29 trying to go into overtime, and people are tired. That's a high scoring game, so that's very active offense, and which means both defenses have to be active for these people offense to be out there doing this. And so I just feel like, at the end of the game, I think Dallas did get the overtime ball first, so they just run it down and it was over. But I feel like a lot of that frustrations we took out there next week on those Jets.
Absolutely, man. And I don't, just to wrap up the Cowboys, I don't ever believe in moral victories, so to speak, because when you lose. But like, it does that game did give me faith that we can hang in there in a shootout, because I until that point, we hadn't really been a very high scoring team other than against the Jets, who, as we see in week 7, I mean, the Jets are pitiful. They're not a good football team.
And that's why, and that's another reason why today is important, because the Buffalo Bills are playing the Jets today. So that's just basically an easy dub. So we need the dub just to stay strong.
But it might not be an easy dub because they lost to the Jaguars last week.
They sure did. And so and imagine the Jets as being the rebound. So the revenge is going to be taken out just like we took it out.
True.
That loss on, like, we lost to the Jaguars. Like, we're going to go out and smack the Jets.
Right. And they probably have that attitude. Yeah. But honestly, weeks 8 and 9, I mean, the Chargers and the Panthers,
those were both. I think those are our statement games.
Exactly.
Like, that's that. What we're doing isn't a fluke.
Right.
We found our system.
Yeah, especially the Chargers, because we had to go all the way out to the West Coast. Justin Herbert had been playing fantastic up until that point, and a lot of credit to the defense on that one. Bill really had that kid rattled. And I thought that game was also kind of, I don't want to say a low point, but Mac Jones struggled in that game. He was really sped up. He was getting hit. He threw, I think he threw at least a pick, if not more.
Was that the game he threw the 2?
It might have been 2 on that game. Yeah. Yeah. So he struggled, and, it showed some, resilience from the team on the whole. And that was the game where Adrian Phillips had I think he had 2 interceptions. He had the pick 6. So that was a great, overall team win. And then, last week at Carolina, took care of business. I mean, Belichick is
he still got it.
Yeah, he's consistently made Sam Darnold look terrible. And
right. And I mean, and like I said, both of these, like the Chargers game, because it was about the Chargers had a better record than us when we played them.
Right.
And we had the same record as the Panthers when we played them.
Right.
And so, like, at this point now, it's like we're climbing back up the ladder. And so it's like at this point, like, oh, the Chargers are better than them. They've been in control all season. They're just coming off this one win, and they just lost to the Cowboys. So we beat the Chargers in what is a good game. And so it's like, okay, well, maybe, they've got something, they've got some rhythm, and then we come out in week 9, and it's like, all right, they have a system. Their system is being cemented, the staple, the communication is happening clearly between the players. Defense is definitely going on. Today is going to be whose defense I think is better.
It's a good contest. Yeah, it really is.
Because I mean, it's going to be tough, but they got the best, they got the best with Myles Garrett right there. We got Judon, and that's going to be whoever gets more sacks is going to be. I think that's going to be the team that wins. I think it's going to come down to those two.
Yeah,
are going to be as key players. If Matt can get one extra sack, if he can do something extra, then Myles Garrett can. Then I think that will set up. I feel like it'll be like a key third down play, something that just takes them from field goal range to now they got to punt it.
And while Myles Garrett is, I mean, he's definitely a transcendent, all-time talent, I feel. Belichick has a proclivity to kind of slow those guys down. Like, I remember when we used to play JJ Watt, he would slow down JJ Watt. He'll double team, he'll do what he needs to do to not.
But what was it today? I was just watching this before we started there. Our tackle who
Owenu?
No, I don't think it's one. I don't think that was his
name.
Just the one who I know is going to be lined up against Myles Garrett.
Oh, okay.
They said that he has allowed, like, through him, 4 of the sacks have come off of.
Okay.
So he's a side. He's the, I guess, will be the weak link.
You would probably Isaiah Wynn. Isaiah Wynn has not had a good year.
I think that might be him. Yeah. I had wrote it down.
The right side of the line has been pretty strong with Shaq Mason and Michael Owenu. But the left side has given up some sacks. So that should be.
I mean, just one particular player has given up 4. So
right.
And that's who's going to be going up on the Myles Garrett side. So I was like, maybe, hopefully we either had him working on some pass blocking this week, or maybe Bill will start somebody else, something.
We need Trent Brown. He hasn't been healthy all year. He's,
is he playing today?
I don't think so. But they're going to need him if they want to really make a push. All right. So we sit at 5-4. If the season ended today, we would be, we would actually finish ahead of the Chiefs and the Browns. We would
be 7th if the season ended today.
7th. Yep. We would be in the wild card hunt. I think we would have to play the Ravens in our
which we would probably lose that game.
Well, I mean, the Ravens just lost to the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's true too. It's upset week. I'm saying.
Dude, that killed my fantasy team because I've got Lamar Jackson's my quarterback. I was like, I was so bummed because
a lot of people bet and lost that night. Put their life savings on the Ravens.
He's been going off, So but that's that speaks to the current state of the AFC, man, because I feel like there isn't one clear-cut team at the top. The Chiefs have been awful, not awful, but the Titans. The Titans have been consistent, and especially losing Derrick Henry and still being able to win. And and I'm excited for that game. So we'll get to that in a second. So anyway, so let's get into I'm going to call this the report card segment. So I kind of I broke down the offense and the defense just by position, and I picked a player that has stood out to me so far at each position. And I figure we'll go through and we'll give each position group, mostly except for quarterback, a grade. So be thinking about what you want to grade each position.
Okay.
And let's start with the quarterback. Let's start with Mac Jones. You can see, his stats are kind of pedestrian, but I did read today that he's the only rookie quarterback who has more touchdowns than interceptions. And he's really, I think, as far as
the only rookie quarterback.
Only rookie quarterback, yeah. Amongst that, fairly stacked rookie class of Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, the kid out in San Francisco whose name's escaping me. But I mean, so if I were to grade Mac Jones so far, I would give him a B. I think that, he's been good, not great. I think that he's been a facilitator more so to the run game. But he's done what he's needed to do when he's needed to do it. But people are going nuts up here, and I'm not ready to give him an A and A+.
Yeah, no. In no way, shape, or form is he A material yet. I'd give him a B. He'd probably get a B, maybe like a C+. But I give him like maybe a B- because he's improving.
Right.
He's not staying consistently the same every week. He's getting better as he's getting more comfortable and filling into the role, and his guys are getting, that communication. People think that that's just going to snap in a week or two. That's not. You and 11 guys are not going to all click in 1 week. Right. On the field playing another 11 guys and then fans screaming. So, I mean, I feel like he hasn't cracked under pressure. I did feel like he didn't have the stamina in the beginning of the season to do a full NFL game. I feel like his stamina has definitely improved. He's not, that second half lag you see. He's not showing so much second half lag. He's still hungry. So I feel like there's so much room to improve, and he's willing to do that.
Yeah, he does kind of have that like Brady thing where you can tell it really bugs him if he's not performing up to, whatever his perceived standard should be. And yeah, I think,
which I hope are not that high, because he doesn't need to be.
But he's, if you look at a game like last week, he didn't throw for over 200 yards, but he was effective. He didn't turn the ball over either.
Right. That's more important, I feel like, to me, because I feel like he's only got 3 weeks where he hasn't thrown a pick. He's almost thrown a pick every game.
Right.
So I feel like he needs to just be focused more on getting the ball to the players, not trying to be Superman, not he hasn't done any Hail Marys, and I'm grateful for that, because he doesn't need to be trying to whisk it out there, because I don't think he's got the accuracy for that yet.
Yeah, he's kind of been limited in his long throws. He's had a couple nice ones to Aguilar.
Yeah, Aguilar will get there.
Yeah. So at least he can get it there. But I feel like that's, he is a very game plan dependent player right now. And his stats might not be flashy, but he is doing,
he's in a good system. He's gonna mold, the system will mold him into what he needs to be.
Right. And I mean, I hate when people try to compare him to Brady, but and I'm not comparing him to Brady, but when Brady first started, he wasn't, lighting up the stat sheet or anything. He was a game manager, facilitator. He was doing what needed to be done to win. He wasn't,
the clock management, all of those other things that besides just coming out and throwing the ball, you can't just come out and move the chains. And that's what so many people did wrong with Brady, is they came out, got a touchdown, and you giving the ball back to Brady with 5 minutes. Like he's gonna walk it down the field in 4 and then score in 1 and give you back the ball with 20 seconds. And that's how you win a game.
Right. No, absolutely. So yeah, B for the quarterback position, good, not great. And but with a lot of room to improve. I mean, we're halfway through his first year, and there's been a lot to be happy about. All right, so then moving on to running back, dude, I'm going to give the running back group an A+. I think it's been the strength of our offense.
Definitely.
Damian Harris.
In 20 years, to say that the strength of our offense is coming from the ground. It hasn't been said like that for us in a while. We've been an air attack team for very long, and we've always had guys that could get it done on the ground, but now we're really using them.
Right. No, it's true. And Damian Harris is obviously he just runs the ball so hard. He's having a great year. Unfortunately, he's not playing today.
Right. But neither is Chubb, so that's good.
Right. And that's why. So I don't know if you noticed in the corner, I snuck in a picture of our guy, Ramondre Stevenson, because we both kind of saw him as a guy to watch and a guy to, that we thought had potential. And he certainly has, lived up to that, I think, so far.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he's going to be, I think he's starting today.
Yeah, he's starting today. Yep. So even with Harris out, I mean, you can feel good about having him. And, that one, even, Brandon Bolden has been great.
Yeah. All three of them, they in a good communicate. It's a good flow. You just swap them out and you don't know who it is. They don't get tired.
Yeah. And Bolden is kind of, really picked up a lot of what, we lost when James White went out. He's been catching the ball well. He's been running routes. Max seems to, trust that he can get good throws to him. Yeah, he's really getting his shot. So yeah, the running back group has really been carried us a lot. All right. So wide receiver. Now I picked out Jacoby Myers just because I feel like he's as close as, we talked about, and Hunter Henry's up there too, but like that kind of safety blanket thing, that reliable guy that Mac knows he can go to, who's going to move the chains, who's going to pick up the tough yards. But the wide receiver group as a whole, I feel like, they kind of mix and match, and whoever's hot that day, they're going to go to. I mean, Kendrick Bourne has almost as many yards receiving.
Right.
Aguilar's been a little hit or miss, but when he is on, he's explosive.
I feel like he's the big guy, like the big yard, the big play getter. But he's got to burn this guy to do it because I don't think he can make a play. I don't think he can make a pass like that if Aguilar is double covered. I don't think his accuracy will hit Aguilar more than it would hit the pick or the defender's gloves. And so I feel like that's more of a when they're up, let's send him on a deep route and let's get it. But Jacoby Myers is that safety, that safety blanket. I'm comfortable with him. He's running the routes that I feel I'm good at. We're doing these plays that I'm confident in getting to him. He'll get to this spot on the field where my vision, he runs right to my vision. We got defense scrambled, boom. Hunter Henry, off of the blocks. He's just, as you see, he's getting all the touchdowns. That's clearly, if we had to say Mac had a favorite, that's half of Mac's touchdowns right there. Yeah.
So before we get into the tight end, I would say on the wide receiver group, I'm kind of hovering, grade wise between like a B- and a C+. I mean, they've been effective, but like I said, I feel like the Patriots still could add something and improve that, because while Jacoby Myers is reliable, I don't really see him as being a number one wide receiver. So I
mean, especially where we're coming into week 10 and he's got no touchdowns.
He has no touchdowns in his whole career.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you've been up and down the field 8 yards. You've been up and down the field 4 times, and you don't got one touchdown yet.
Right.
So I mean, maybe it'll come today. Who knows? We talked about him. It might happen.
Who knows?
But I'm giving them a C.
I'm gonna go C.
I'm giving them a C. They're not. It's very well distributed, so I would say meets requirements. They're meeting the requirements. They're not exceeding the requirements.
It's getting the job done, and that's why and they also don't really have a and I would love to see that kid who's on the punt returns, Gunnar Olszewski. He obviously reminds me of like a Julian Edelman kind of player, and he just doesn't seem to like be able to find his way into the offense, but he is that, he is a slot receiver, and that's one thing that they don't really. I mean, Jacoby Myers can run those slot routes, but he's also a little bit bigger and can play the outside too. So yeah, I think that's what they're lacking in that position group, is that guy who can run the short over the middle routes, not afraid to take a hit, and All right, so moving on to tight end. Now, Hunter Henry is my standout. It's been him and Jonnu Smith. And I feel like Jonnu Smith has been inconsistent, I would say. I think he struggled a little bit with injury. I certainly like his upside because he seems like a real Swiss Army knife type of player where you can utilize him in a lot of different ways. You've seen him come out of the back, playing the halfback, come out of the backfield. You've seen him do different things so far. And Hunter Henry obviously has been great in the red zone, but you don't really see him moving the chains as much. Mac's going to target him, when he needs it near the end zone. But I feel like Jonnu Smith could be more effective moving the chains. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
So it's hard. I feel like it's hard to grade the tight ends unbiasedly as a Patriots fan. I mean, we with Gronk, and even God forbid you bring up the other one.
Yeah, I think back to as a kid, there's this guy Ben Coates who used to play tight end for them, who was a beast too. But anyway, go ahead.
But it's like we've always had great tight ends. So when we're grading them against who we had, it's hard to say, oh well, you're not going to get an A because you're not Gronk. Right. And so, but I mean, Hunter Henry is, like I said, you got 50% of Mac Jones's touchdowns coming from this one person. Right. So yes, he's not moving the chains, but he's affecting the scoreboard.
Sure.
And so I would, 27 receptions. He's clearly catching the ball.
Right.
I would give them I'm gonna give them an A-, as far as they're probably doing. Yeah, I give him A-, just based off Hunter Henry alone.
Right.
But he's got room to grow, maybe a B+. There, because I feel like Hunter Henry personally doesn't need to step up and do more. He's doing all that he can. Right. When he gets the ball, he's not falling, he's not fumbling, giving up picks or anything. So he's producing when he gets it. So if anything, you just either need to get him the ball more, or everyone else needs to step up. But as I feel like there's not much more Hunter Henry can do in his position to affect the game more than he is.
No, he's doing his job. And I think, the reason I would be, and I'm with you on the B+. I mean, Hunter Henry does elevate that position to earn that grade. But you just need more. You need more from the other guy. You need more from Smith. If you get both those guys going.
Yeah. And that's what I say, as the group would get a B+, I would give Hunter Henry an A-.
Yeah. I agree.
But it's like, but there's a group project, so you got to get that Smith grade in there. But whereas, we had, but like I said, it's a skewed system because coming from the Aaron Hernandez days, the Rob Gronkowski days, where we had two all-star tight ends who you put them on the field, and then you've got all-star receivers, and you don't know who the defense needs to cover. Because if I look this way, it could be a touchdown. If I look that way, it could be a touchdown. And it doesn't need to be all like Hunter Henry's coming in. Now we need to worry. So, you're establishing yourself on the offense that it's a third and something. We're probably going to Hunter, and because he'll catch it and push his way forward. He's the hungriest person I feel like on the field at times.
That touchdown throw for Mac Jones was a bullet last week.
Yeah.
That was, and he had to, he was going to the ground. He had to.
Well, yeah, he got it right in there.
Yeah, that was something else. So yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And I hope that Smith finds his groove, and that'll only benefit us. So the offensive line, I mentioned two players, Michael Owenu and Shaq Mason. I feel like the right side of the line has been strong. The left side that you mentioned, they've got Isaiah Wynn out there. He's struggled, but I feel like they've figured out, it was a little shaky at first, but they've also started to catch their stride a bit. Especially run blocking has been outstanding.
Yes. The holes on the right side are often prettier than the ones they make on the left there.
Right.
To get them through and burst through right to the secondary. Harris has been getting some beautiful holes when they break off to the right. The screens on the right usually work better.
Yeah.
So they're definitely getting their job done more than the left side, I feel, of the field.
Yeah, and I think they're, if we need to get Trent Brown back, I think that's important because he's a, Pro Bowl left tackle. I don't know if they're going to play him on the left side or right side, but the left side needs help, and he could definitely make an impact. Because Mac has taken some hits, and I worry about that. He's really, he's gotten clobbered quite a bit.
They activated Trent Brown for today.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Maybe he'll be out there. That'll be great. That guy is a monster. But I would say, the offensive line, improving, B plus, A minus. I'm in there somewhere. Gotta improve pass protection, but since our running game has been so huge, I would, got to give him credit for that too.
That you're right. So I'm gonna give him a B plus.
Yeah.
I'd say A minus would come when we've got larger gaps in not even in victories, but just more offensive points. Because if the line is producing, then you'll score more. Even if we had a tie game at 44-44, if the offense is producing that much, the offensive line is producing that much that we were able to get these opportunities, then that would be more. But we're having more lower scoring games. Like our highest scoring game was the Jets one, but prior to that, I don't think we've broken 30.
Right. Yeah. And that actually leads me right into the next position group, which is the special teams, and Nick Folk. He's been great. He's 21 field goals made. He's at 91% right now. He's been reliable, and he's been a factor because we've been in, some of our victories have been close victories, and
right.
And that takes you back, way back to the Adam Vinatieri days when having a guy like that was so.
It does. I mean, and even if it is just, I always say kickers are important, but I feel like my appreciation for kickers came from watching that Steelers game when they didn't have one. Like when it comes down to just an extra point.
Right.
Like if you have no one to kick it rather than you miss an extra point, it's 1 point now, but that 1 point could come back and lose the game. But like if you have a bad kicker and you choose to run the ball or do something instead of letting your kicker kick because they're that bad,
right?
But where you stay on the sideline, we're just gonna try for 2 because there's just no point in it. Like kickers are very important. They will win you games. They'll win you rings. And 91%. This far in the league is definitely incredible. You watch, I don't know, how you watch your football. I watch Red Zone. So you see you'll see people missing what you would describe as easy kicks. Some 20-yarders and it's happening a lot. Usually it's not like a 42er, it's just you got somebody who could come out and miss an extra point. So I'm glad that he's getting all the opportunities to make all of his kicks that he can. I mean, some people have been perfect, but whenever they say that the person's been perfect, they missed the kick that game. So
no, he's reliable, and that's that's all you can ask out of that position. So I would say on the offense as a whole, if we were to grade them as a whole, I give them a B. They've been good with plenty of room to improve, but I think that's
they're getting a B. Especially Nick Folk is going to he'll get an A from me.
Yes.
So him, the Hunter Henry with the A minus. Jacoby Myers, if my man could just get some touchdowns, that would just look better.
Right.
And especially, offensive line, if we can get that left side, if Trent Brown comes out today and shows up, if they activate him today, I feel like that would be something in our favor going into this match against the Browns. Definitely. Somebody, if they line him up against Myles Garrett, that's somebody I feel could keep him at bay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Trent Brown's a big guy. That would be great.
I'm giving our offense a B. They verging on minus, but I'm gonna give them a solid B.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I agree with that. All right, so let's go to defense. Is going to be a little shorter. So here we go. So the defense. Now the defense, I feel like started out slow. but they've showed.
I love that you got the Tom Brady sack in there as the picture.
Had to do it. But they've shown steady improvement, and I feel like they've, in the past couple wins, especially against the Chargers and the Panthers, they've really shown out and been the reason why we were able to come away with the victories. So on the defensive line, I mentioned this kid, Christian Barmore. He's a rookie. And if you look at his stats, nothing really jumps off the page, but he's been very disruptive in the run game, and that's where they were weak. And he was a projected, I did a little research, projected first round pick. I think had maybe some off-field issues, some things that kind of caused him to slide down in the draft a little bit, and the Patriots picked him up in the second round. So he's been a real steal and a real reason to be excited about the line. Outside of that, I haven't felt, like I said, I feel like they're improving, but a consistent struggle for the Patriots in the past, I would say, 2.5, 3 years has been run defense. If a team, like you said, like a Zeke Elliott or, Kamara killed us when we played the Saints, if a team has a strong running back, we're kind of at their mercy. So Barmore, I think gives you a lot of reason to hope, but I would say for the defensive line as a whole, maybe a C minus. I don't know how you felt about the line.
Definitely give him a C, because for a while I really thought Judon was on like a defensive end. But then
he switches.
I know. So, but that's what keeps them from being maybe a D or a C minus. The fact that he switches down in there, but on paper he's a linebacker, so his full review is going to go to the linebacker, which is they're going to get more than likely. We'll talk about that in a second, but defensive line, definitely they're looking. We don't have our Vince Wilfork anymore. We don't have somebody that's down there that is an entire force to just be on the line and is going to take up two of your offensive linemen and still probably get the tackle. They don't make them like that anymore. And until we find our, if Christian Barmore decides to be that, if he can evolve into becoming that, then that's something that's good. But as of right now, we don't have anyone who's in that lead or in that skill set on our line yet. So our line, I'm gonna give them a C, maybe a C minus. There's much room for improvement.
I agree, and I hope it continues. I hope he kind of sparks a little bit of a revival. So then linebacker, obviously, Matthew Judon has been a huge standout, and there was some skepticism, from national voices when they signed him. They gave him too much money, this, that, or the other thing. But he's paid off and more. He's tied for the third most sacks in the NFL with 9, and I think he's a force. The guy.
And, what I'm saying, he's only he's 3 sacks behind Garrett.
Yeah. There's a kind of a cluster of guys tied for third, but he's right.
Saying, if he can go in there today and get some, and Mac doesn't get a sack, or they said that we're allowing less than 2 sacks a game. So
he's going to be a huge part of today's game, because Baker Mayfield is a guy who you can definitely rattle. Who's a guy who's definitely
he can be rattled, and if you can rattle him and get him to stay still, or get him afraid of a certain side of the ball of the field, like, if he sees them red sleeves, so he's not going to the left, like so right. That you can basically make him the spy, because he's not going to roll this way or something. Or you can make a soft blitz because he's not going to go the Judon way, and have a blindside blitz to the other side, because he sees those red sleeves and he's not going that way. Like, once it's in his head, and once he's in, you can then play him pretty much as like Waterboy with the green notebook. Bill's just over there having fun at that point. Like, once Bill's rattled you, then he has fun with it.
Yeah, no, and like I said, Judon has been outstanding. The linebackers as a whole, I haven't noticed Hightower and Kyle Van Noy as much this year. I
really haven't. Like, it's really been talk about Judon, and with with names like Van Noy and Hightower, you would expect the group to get an A, but I'm going to give them a B plus because we're used to them producing more.
Right. And it's kind of that, it's similar to the thing we said with the tight ends, like one guy is carrying the position group at this point and allowing them.
And this guy is the new guy. Like you guys are the vets on this team, and not just being vets on the team, but you're known for being good at your positions. Like, and the new guy is coming in and tied for third in the NFL, and you guys aren't even top 5.
Right. No, it's true. It's true. Yeah, there's the talents there. It just makes you wonder if maybe those guys are, on their way out, and hopefully not for our sake. Yeah, no, I agree.
Everybody's gonna follow suit and just go to the Buccaneers or Carolina.
Yeah, seriously. So yeah, the secondary, and obviously the standout has been JC Jackson. He's been great. He had the pick 6 last week. 2 interceptions last week, and so he's at 5. He's kind of been the highlight of the secondary. I worry about what's behind him. They've got that kid Miles Bryant who's looked promising, but I really think that they need to firm up that second cornerback position, because they haven't really been able to find somebody behind Jackson. They've put Jalen Mills in at corner, and he's made some costly mistakes. The safeties, I mean, McCourty's always, reliable, but outside of JC Jackson, that's another position group. I was hoping that at the trade deadline, they might pick somebody up, but their pass coverage has been strong, but at the same time, if you come up against a team with, multiple weapons that can stretch beyond your number one corner, like we saw with the Cowboys game, we tend to struggle.
Yeah. Definitely. I'd probably give us a B plus on the secondary.
I forgot Adrian Phillips. He's been great too.
Yeah. We should. I feel like, people can do what they want. It depends, like, on any given day. Like, sometimes if they find the seam stays there. It doesn't really get addressed until like the next game. So it's like, if there's a problem, the problem tends to be there the whole day. Right. And it'll be like, like Bill's not making adjustment mid-game or halftime. It'll just be up, issue in the secondary right there. There's blown coverage right there. And then they'll just come and keep doing it in that same spot, and it doesn't get addressed until maybe the next. I don't know if he's just trying to do this hands-off coaching where he lets them figure it out, but that's not working anymore. Right. Some adjustments definitely need to be made. We have lost a lot of defensive players. We need to bring in, I think we need to bring more help. We need help everywhere. I think we need one veteran. I think we need one more veteran on both sides of the ball. Because I think, we don't really have a veteran, because we lost we lost the other McCourty. We lost Steven. Yeah. We lost Stevenson. We lost Gilmore. Yeah. And it's just like, we haven't replaced the talent we had. We just kind of let whoever was on the roster move up. Right. No, it's true. And I agree with that. And, I will say that, and this is just from, local sports talk. There was word that Bill has taken tighter reins over the defense, that he took control away from his mulleted moron son, who makes all the ridiculous faces on TV. Thank God. Yeah. Yeah. So he's kind of taken more control over the defense. And I think that's why you've seen a bit of a resurgence, because, defense has always been Belichick's calling card. He's known as a defensive coach. Yep. And you don't have a clear cut defensive coordinator right now. It's, you've got Gerard Mayo, who formerly played for them, and you've got and knows basically the calling card of Bill Belichick. So So I think if Bill, tightens the reins, hopefully you'll start to see some improvement. And the defense as a whole, up until they are showing improvement. But B- sound about right. Let me see here.
I mean,
nobody has. I think the Cowboys was the first team to get more than 30 points on us.
True.
So I'll give them a B minus, because there's room for improvement. There's definitely several mistakes that need to be addressed. But they don't give up, and that's what I definitely like. Is you can see in defenses when they give up and the game is over. And because they're no longer trying, like there'll be one or two players that are still in it, but the defense as a whole on the Patriots doesn't give up until the game is officially over. They fight hard, like every quarter is the first quarter, and that time isn't up and it's not over yet.
And they have been the main reason we've won our last two games, especially, and I especially think back to the Chargers game, because Mac really struggled in that game, and they kept him, they kept us in it, and then the second half he was able to kind of get his stuff together and make some improvements.
But it was because they stopped the momentum.
Right, exactly. They held the Chargers offense at bay. They really confused Herbert, and and last week too. I mean, Sam Darnold. There was that famous quote back when he was on the Jets that he said he was seeing ghosts. And that, then they dubbed the Patriots defense that whole boogeyman thing and all that ridiculous stuff. But yeah, I mean,
you see any ghosts tonight, sir? Shut up. No comment.
Man, what a thing to be caught on camera saying. All right, man. So yeah, B minus sounds about right. Okay.
And it's like these B's and these A's, all of it we were definitely a D team in the beginning of the season.
Oh, so yeah.
We have definitely, like, to get to this spot, I'm proud of the team. So same. Yes, while there's room for improvement, I'm glad at where we are now.
Yeah, and I think the grades reflect it. We're given, B's, B minuses to the offense and defense. I mean, you're a good, not great team yet. And I think that's pretty accurate with where we are. Okay, so here's our remaining schedule. Now we're right at the halfway point. So today we have Cleveland. Shout out to my brother Jeff. He's out at the game right now. Him and his wife, sister-in-law Erin. So I hope you guys have a good time. But yeah, we've kind of already previewed this a little bit. It's going to be a test, especially that offense, how we defend.
I really think it's going to come down to these key third downs. Myles Garrett versus Matt Judon. Who's going to, like, that, a one key sack, a key sack here, a missed third down there. Because I feel like other than that, it's not going to be any team coming out and just strong arming the other.
Right. And I will, in terms of players, I think that, you got to give more talent to Cleveland.
Yes.
But you've got to give coaching to the Patriots, obviously.
Always.
And,
definitely.
I think Bill is going to frustrate Baker Mayfield, and, that may be the advantage you have. Nick Chubb not playing certainly helps. Jarvis Landry's a great number one wide receiver. They've got two good tight ends there. So that's definitely going to be a challenge defending them, and their defense is great too. And
yes, they're coming off two picks last week, one for a pick six. So it's same record, 5-4. It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be an easy wash for either team. It's just like, where you say it's going to be a wash for someone and they come out and they really do. Like, they just, like, when we say what's probably going to happen with Buffalo and who they got, the Jets today.
The Jets, yeah.
Or whoever's playing the Detroit today. It's like, you have these days where you just know, like, somebody's going to get washed. And this isn't one of those games. I feel like this is going to be when we played the Cowboys, like, it's going to be a shootout. It's going to come down to the end. It might go to overtime. I would be extremely disappointed, but I'm not ruling out a tie, like an overtime quarter going down to the wire. And I'm not going to count that out. I would hate it, because I can't remember the last time we as the Patriots had a draw in our record.
Yeah, I see this as being a not super high scoring. I think, kind of if the Patriots win, it'll be kind of a 24-21, 21-18 kind of scenario. It's going to be defensive battle.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams are going to be right on the other. And it's going to be
if somebody gets injured, somebody can get injured and just take it all away.
Yeah, it's going to be a grind.
And that's another thing. Like, neither one of us has had a bye week yet.
Right.
So we're getting to this point where it's halfway through the season, and like I said, we've got a rookie quarterback who hasn't had a time to sit back and think, who hasn't had his week off yet and his start yet.
Right. And we're beat up at our best position. Damian Harris isn't playing today. Ramondre Stevenson is, but he had a concussion. So
right.
he's not 100%.
Brandon, not, yeah. So like there's a lot of wear and tear that we're just putting band-aids on because we can't stop yet.
I wonder if we'll see that kid, that JJ Taylor, the smaller running back.
Maybe.
He's been exciting to watch. I mean, he kind of reminds me of like Dion Lewis when he was with us. Kind of that.
Those are the good days.
Yeah, catch the ball out of the backfield quick, miss, So hopefully, I've been calling for him to get more, it's such a loaded running back room, but I've wanted to see him get a little more action. So maybe we'll see that today. So then we have a, quick turnaround, Thursday night against Atlanta. We're going down there. Atlanta has not been good. They're without their number one wide receiver, Calvin Ridley. I think, I think we predicted at the beginning, when we did this way back in the day, that we can beat Atlanta. I still hold to that.
Yes. I do hold to us being able to beat Atlanta after seeing what the season has progressed on far, excluding some weird, injury to Mac Jones or something like that.
Right.
And we gotta send Hoyer out there. Like, I don't see us losing that game.
Yeah, like you said, outside of something freak, weird happening today where somebody gets hurt and you just don't have the turnaround time. That's going to be the biggest struggle, is the turnaround time.
Right. The fact it's 4 days. Like
you got to travel and that's.
They should have given us our 4-day or Thursday right before the bye week. That they have been nicer. They're making us play so late.
I know.
But and then maybe they want to give us that time because I know we gonna lose to Tennessee.
Yeah, I hope we don't. Like I texted you. Shout out to my wonderful.
As a matter of fact, when
friend Lindsay, she
did the
tickets to that game.
Oh yeah, you'll be there.
So I'll be there. But Tennessee is on a hot streak, and they're finding ways to win. And a team like that, somebody goes down and they still, it wasn't Derrick Henry, but last week it was the defense. They're good everywhere.
I remember we did the original because then we said Buffalo, we said we didn't want to lose 2 in a row, but now with the way the season's going, Buffalo looks like we might be able to win that.
Yeah, you're at Buffalo. It's always tough, but I think like we said with the Dolphins, I think we'll split with Buffalo. But that would be a tough. So if we beat, today's a toss up, that would put us, so we go 6-7.
That's why I was like, we need this, but they're playing the Jets today, so they're more than likely going to be.
I think the Tennessee and Buffalo games, you're going to split. You're going to lose one of those.
I'd like to think no. We're going to lose Tennessee, but I'd like to think we're in a place where we can beat Buffalo now, especially 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, Buffalo is they're vulnerable, so maybe we can get that one. Then we have
but Tennessee, I'm still standing strong to they will beat us.
There's just
Atlanta we'll take I think we can take Atlanta. Tennessee will beat us, especially going to them. Buffalo, that home field advantage in December.
Yeah, we well, no, that's at Buffalo.
That's what I'm saying. For them, like, they'll have their home field advantage in December. That's depending on how these weeks go. I think that's going to be like how we play Cleveland today. I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, both games will be good. I almost want to give Buffalo that one, but it's a toss up, like you said, just like the Cleveland game. And then we finally have our bye. What a late bye. And at Indianapolis, I think that I would give that to us. They've been inconsistent. Carson Wentz has not been good. I know they have some injury struggles right now, so I give that one to us. I would rather, I think we, obviously better suited for Buffalo at home. I would be more ready to give us that one.
If we can beat them both times, that'll cement us in the playoffs.
That'd be huge. That might push us ahead of them because we're only one game behind.
Well,
right
yeah,
now.
well, we're tied now. Well, we're because they've had their bye. So
Right.
if we beat them, I mean, at week 13, that'll push us ahead of them for the conference.
Right.
But then if we beat them the second time, then that will cancel out their chances of being able to overcome us in our division, and they'll have to wild card it.
Yeah. So I think, after Tennessee, it's really the 2 Buffalo games because all of those other games are winnable. Jackson.
Yes, but it's the Buffalo and Miami that are the most important.
Right. And I don't think we slip up against Miami again. I think that they've, our seasons have gone in different directions, and especially if there are playoff implications on the line, I think Bill has them ready. I think that
he'll be mean. He'll be mean.
Yeah. Even though it's down there, and I know we've historically struggled down there, but that was mainly a Brady thing. And
that would be lovely. I mean, we'll probably be looking forward to that, going to Miami in January. Nice little warm way to start. And then it's the last game. If we're in a good place, that's a bye week, get a week off in the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I kind of see us finishing, right around, I think, 10, 11 wins is what I put us at. Much beyond that, I don't really see, but 10, 11 wins will get us into the playoffs. And then who knows?
Yeah.
It's a wide open AFC.
It is. The only person in the AFC guaranteed anything right now is the Titans.
The Titans are hot, but they also have proven that they can be beat. I mean, they lost to the Jets.
I'm not saying they can't be beat, but I'm just saying as far as how the
right.
They break down. They're already at a 3-game lead in their division.
Right. No,
everyone else is either tied or only one up. Ravens are one up on the Steelers. We're tied with the Bills. Chargers are tied with the Raiders and the Chiefs. And actually the Broncos, that whole division is 5 up. So so they're the Chargers and Raiders are 5-3, and the Chiefs and Broncos are 5-4. So their whole division is up for grabs.
Yeah. And you just got to hope that the Chiefs somehow kind of stay on their trajectory and don't, figure it out and get hot again and dangerous. But it would be great if they weren't a factor. But I think that we're competitive. We've certainly we've made improvements. We've come a long way, and this I see us being a playoff team. Not quite a Super Bowl.
I am definitely more optimistic about us making the playoffs than I was at the beginning of the season. When we did episode 1, I was thinking we were still going to be building. It'd be a fun season to watch till playoffs started. But now I'm thinking, I might still have to be cooking and grilling during playoff season because my team's still in it.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. And it looked a little grim at first, but it's good to see that Belichick still has the touch to where he can. I think in the last podcast mentioned that they're not a team who really catches their stride until this time of year. And that's playing out perfectly. So yeah, well, by the time this is uploaded and this is all ready to go, we'll know the results of the Browns game starting now. I don't want to keep you on, man. Because I know you probably want to go watch, and I got to drive down to Connecticut to watch it. So thanks again for coming on, man. It's always fun, and we'll have to check in again soon.
Yes, sir. Make sure send me that, and I'll get it on, and it'll be on the King Petty Chronicles as well. And I always link to your channel on my videos for you. So it's been fun. We'll probably do if we make it to the playoffs, there'll be a playoff video.
Absolutely. No, I look forward to that. And even if not, we'll wrap up the year somehow.
Yeah, we'll do it'll either be a season wrap up or it'll be a pre-playoff talk.
Sounds good to me, man.
All right, man. It's been a good one. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too, buddy. We'll see you later.
See you.